Hey everyone, how you doing? Happy Friday the 13th. Hey, one of our old favorites is back. You cannot get enough of Dr. Feinstein. Yes, Dianne Feinstein is back, and who is her target today? Hey, it's people like myself going after the bloggers. Gotta shut them down. Too much truth going around, folks. We gotta put an end to this, right? Fascist Matt Drudge blast Dianne Feinstein for trying to define who is and isn't a real reporter. So here's from Matt Drudge. This is off Twitchy. I guess it has something to do with Twitter. And some of his quotes here on his Twitter. Comments. Here's Matt Drudge. This was posted today, 5:25 a.m. Comments from Dianne Feinstein yesterday on Who's a Reporter were disgusting. 17-year-old blogger is as important as Wolf Blitzer. I would wager a 17-year-old blogger is far more important than Wolf Blitzer. And I would agree she is a fascist. Here's another one. Federal judge once ruled Drudge is not a reporter, a journalist, or a news gatherer. Millions of readers a day come looking for cooking recipes. Good bit of sarcasm there. Another Drudge at 6:07 a.m. Government declaring who qualifies for freedom of the press in digital age is ridiculous. It belongs to anyone for a reason. No amendment necessary. I wholeheartedly agree. And he's referring to, of course, this bill to protect journalists that has cleared the Senate. The Senate Judiciary Committee approves a media shield bill to keep real reporters from having to testify on their work. How fucking convenient is that? Right? So not only are they allowed to lie, now they are protected from revealing where their sources or what they got it from. And of course, this is off the Los Angeles Times here. Journalists and bloggers who report the news to the public will be protected from being forced to testify about their work under a media shield bill passed by the Senate committee on Thursday. But the new legal protection will not extend to the controversial online website WikiLeaks and others whose principal work involves disclosing primary source documents without authorization. So basically, anybody who's trying to push the truth out there will be a target, and anybody who's spreading lies will be protected. Senate sponsors of the bill and coalition of media groups that support it hailed Thursday's bipartisan Senate Judiciary Committee vote as a breakthrough. We're closer than ever before in passing a strong and tough media shield bill. Shield bill. Senator Charles E. Schumer said, thanks to important bipartisan compromises, we've put together a strong bill that balances the need for national security with that of a free press. Well, that's just it, isn't it? I mean, how is it a free press if they're going to be protected from revealing what they're doing, since they're lying to us 90% of the fucking time? Senator Dianne Feinstein, of course, here, let me not skip ahead of that. The final hurdle for the Judiciary Committee was defining who is a journalist in the digital era. Senator Dianne Feinstein, lovely Dr. Frankenstein, insisted on limiting the legal protection to real reporters and not, she said, a 17-year-old with his own website. The lizard lady had this to say, I can't support it if everyone who has a blog has a special privilege. Or if Edward Snowden were to sit down and write this stuff, he would have a privilege. I'm not going to go there. Yes, because my God, if anybody out there is revealing what you fucking crooks are up to, they will not be protected. Hell no. But all the Wolf Blitzers of the world, they'll get all the protection that they need. Feinstein introduced an amendment that defines a covered journalist as someone who gathers and reports news from an entity or service that disseminates news and information. Yeah, basically CNN, right? Or Fox or all these bullshit networks. The definition includes freelancers, part-timers, and student journalists, and permits a judge to go further and extend the protection to any legitimate news gathering activities. But the bill also makes it clear that legal protection is not absolute. Federal officials may still compel disclosure from a journalist who has information that could stop or prevent crimes such as murder, kidnapping, or child abduction, or prevent acts of terrorism or significant harm to national security. Wow, it's amazing that they're doing this crap, and they have the gall to come out and target bloggers. This is clearly going after people like Drudge, people like myself, anybody who has their own independent blog reporting on stories, well, reporting on much of the bullshit that's going on. On the Drudge report, there's more information. Well, he's changed it since I put up there. Fascist Feinstein here. Media bill, it's the same article I was just looking at. Here's another Senate amendment would give DOJ power to determine who is a journalist. This is off the Breitbart. An amendment is moving through the Senate Judiciary Committee that would essentially allow the government to determine who is a journalist for purposes of legal protection of sources, for purposes of protecting a source. A journalist under law would be anybody who, and we already kind of went through that, right? So I understand why Drudge is so upset about this. It's just another attack on the truth. It's the way of shutting people down. A way of labeling all the alternative media and alternative bloggers like myself who make no money whatsoever in what we do, therefore have cannot be compromised, cannot be bought, and yet we're the ones that would not have any protection whatsoever. And the shills who work for these corporations who have no interest in telling you the truth, have the only interest that they have is in pushing their own agenda. And this is their fear. This really shows how afraid they are of how powerful the internet has become. The fact that so many people now are turning away from the CNNs, the Fox, the MSNBCs, all the mainstream media outlets are drying up and dying, and as they should, and people are turning to alternative media to get the truth, and turning to places like Matt Drudge, who actually reports on things that are going on with the military-industrial complex and the banksters. They are targets, we are targets, and this is nothing new. The fact that they got Feinstein to push this one, well, what I'll say, like rubbing salt in the wounds. You got to get your most evil pawns out there, your most evil chess pieces to push this kind of crap. And I find this Edward Snowden comment is just golden, really, because he's such a villain. He's such an evil, evil guy for letting Americans know that their government is spying on them and collecting every single piece of data that they can off the internet, off emails, off phone calls, off you name it. Recording your conversations when you're not even on your telephone through your microphones. And yesterday, as I reported, they're giving all that information, all that metadata, as they call it, to none other than the state of Israel, the belligerent state of Israel, who we all know by now cares nothing about peace in the world, and now has some of the most valuable information that is out there. The Glengarry Glen Ross of information for marketers alone, as I said. But beyond that, my God, all that information being shared. And these motherfuckers, these same assholes who are responsible for this, are telling you that these people will not be protected. The people who are actually spilling the beans, the whistleblowers, the bloggers, the people who have the courage to stick their neck out and expose the corporate media and expose these governments, are the ones that will be targeted, no doubt. Hey, it's just another day in the New World Order, isn't it? So, good for Matt Drudge to come out and say it like it is, and I still stand by that. I'd take any 17-year-old blogger over Wolf Blitzer any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Really, this is just another attempt to legitimize their bullshit and to delegitimize the bloggers and alternative media sources who, the cat's out of the bag. You're fighting a war that you can't win. The Americans, I mean, this whole thing with Syria is probably the most, refreshing thing for me that has happened since I've been running this radio show. The fact that 90% of Americans want nothing to do with Syria. They didn't buy it. They just didn't buy it, just like they didn't buy Sandy Hook. They didn't buy the Second Amendment that they wanted to do away with. They didn't buy these things. They're starting to wake up, and this is really scaring them. It really is. And who is a reporter anyways, right? Who is a reporter? Because you work for one of these hideous corporations, one of these multinational conglomerates. I can tell you some of the newspapers here in Canada are so bad today. I've never seen them so bad. It's like the standard of journalism has just completely been washed away, and something else that is completely hideous is taken over. We have our paper here, and I did a couple one story on at least, the Globe and Mail, which is the number one paper in Canada. Their lead columnist is found guilty of plagiarizing dozens of times, stealing whole stories from other newspapers. And guess what? No, she didn't get even a slap on the wrist. She is still on the front page of their journal twice a week, 3 times a week. And that is the standard of news that we have come to expect in this day and age from our mainstream corporate media whores who disseminate misinformation. That is their primary objective. And God bless all the independent bloggers that are out there who are, trying to awaken people to the mind conditioning, the giant mind fuck that mainstream media is doing to them. And hey man, you had your time. The Wolf Blitzers of the world, they're the dinosaurs, right? The Bill O'Reillys, the Wolf Blitzers, all these guys, they're the dinosaurs. You can't be cool, hip, or smart and listen to those fucking idiots, because anybody who knows anything about the world is going to realize how full of shit CNN is. And that's why people are turning by millions to people like Matt Drudge to get real news, not the bullshit corporate crap. So fuck you, Dianne Feinstein. Fuck you once again. You fascist cunt. Pardon my French. But that lady, that creature, that lizard lady, she makes my blood boil. And whenever I see her, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I just want to grab something and beat on it. Anyways, leave your comments below. All the best.